I've done a number of top 10 freerunner lists, and usually I will cover freerunners who are very well known. But in today's video, I'm going to go through 10 freerunners you've probably never heard of. Before we get into it, obviously this is just my opinion, and I kind of want to shine a light on some of the more underrated athletes. The way that I'm probably going to quantify being underrated is having under 10,000 followers on Instagram. Athlete number 1 is Ellis Briggs. So you might think I'm a little bit biased here, but Ellis is an athlete who actually trains in my local town. Ellis is one of the most insane athletes I've ever personally met. He trains alongside Connor Walker, and you can tell both of these two push each other to do these ridiculous sized running precisions. There's a number of jumps in my local town that Ellis and Connor have done that I genuinely never thought were possible. There's this one spot called Crown Plaza, and this running precision is just unfathomably big. We might joke about the jump, but I never thought someone would actually do it. And here Ellis comes along and sticks the damn thing. Of all the athletes you're going to see on this list, I would actually say Ellis is probably the most underrated. He only has about 500 followers on Instagram, so it'd really mean a lot if you guys could go and follow him. It'd be so sick if we could get him to like 1,000. Next on this list is an athlete from Japan. His name, or at least his Instagram handle, is JBPK Ryu_Drew. Doesn't really roll off the tongue, I'm probably just going to call him Drew. Now, I would say Drew is relatively more well known than probably all the others on this list. He has about 9.8 thousand followers, so he only just got on this list. I've spoke about Drew loads of times in past videos. Drew is like the epitome of the Japanese style. He has so much steez in all of his flips. Like, the way he does stuff always is just so pleasing to watch. But there's loads of underrated style athletes out there. What really makes Drew stand out is his wall trick repertoire. Pretty much, if you name a wall trick, Drew will be able to do it. And on top of that, he'll be able to do a ton of wall tricks you can't name because he is the first person to ever do it. Very often you'll see Drew coming up with these new flips like nearly on a weekly basis, and they're always executed just perfectly. Honestly, one day I would love to go to Japan to make a video on these athletes that are out there. Before we continue, I want to shout out today's sponsor, Vite Ramen. If you don't already know about Vite Ramen, they are a quick and easy, ultra nutritious ramen noodle pack. This pack right here, for instance, has 25% of your daily values of your vitamins and minerals. On top of that, it's got 27 grams of protein. Like anyone, I always want to eat healthy, but when I'm working really hard, it's the last thing I want to do is cook. But with Vite Ramen, I literally chuck it in a pan, and in 3 minutes, I've got a really delicious and healthy meal. You can massively help support the channel by picking up some Vite Ramen through the link in the description below. And you can get 10% off by using the code JimmyTheGiantUK. Anyway, back to the video. So next on this list is Jared Nahulu, who's better known on Instagram as We've Gone Fishing. So Jared is really like technically gifted, especially when it comes to bars. He does so many lache precisions that just make my brain hurt. But it's not just that, it's the way he can come up with like a theoretical idea and then take it to his gym and bring it to life. There's so many things like this, but the one that really comes to mind was when he did the lache gainer, bounce back, inward front, re-grab onto a bar. Now I don't think he actually got this move, but he was pretty damn close. And it just kind of blows my mind. Like, he'll come up with these things that you might see in a video game, and he'll just break it down and eventually get it. Or at least come very close.
Oh my god!
What the fuck?
I didn't mean to do that.
I find Jared to be quite aloof with his content on Instagram. Like, he doesn't post all the time, but when he does post, it is always something to look forward to.
Yeah.
So next on this list is a London boy called Devon. He has about 3.2 thousand followers and is more well known for being in Team Fat. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say Team Fat aren't underrated, like people know how good they are. And that is true. But the thing is, Devon kind of only started showing up in videos over the last year or so. Prior to that, Devon broke his neck. One of the first videos I made was when I went to go and meet these guys, and Devon showed me his neck and the way it looked. And that thing was just mashed up. I mean, thank God that he can even walk. Like, that could have been a fatal injury what happened to his neck. But his story of how he recovered from this injury, came back to parkour, and then just continued to kill it, training at a better level than he probably ever did before. He's very much an all-rounded athlete, but I'd say he's particularly well known for his 360 precision. Not just 360 precisions, but 540 precisions, 720 precisions. Basically, the boy is like a human Beyblade. He has a complete understanding of where he is in the air when he does these. So he can do these really technical ones to thin walls and rails. And on top of this, he's so springy, and he has such a unique way of finding lines. Honestly, to me, he's one of my favorite athletes, and I'm really keen to see how far he progresses with Team Fat. Alright, so next on this list is an Austrian by the name of Dominik Fitchenbauer. I think that's how you pronounce it, I'm not quite certain, but he has about 1.8 thousand followers on Instagram. Now, Dominik is an absolute machine. But it kills me how much people sleep on Dominik. He's one of these athletes that I really don't know many other people who know of him. And the only reason I know of him is because I went to Vienna probably 6 or 7 years ago and met him, stayed with him and trained with him. And way back then he was just doing these jumps that were on a different level to pretty much the rest of the parkour scene. What Dominik is really good at is just really big running precisions and sticking them, and really big Kong precision. His landings are just so precise and perfect that he can just do these really techie jumps. And he can do them with such confidence because of his control. Like some of the distances he travels across just honestly kind of looks fake. Dominik has been training quite a long time, and I'm not sure how serious he took it as like a career. I think it was just a hobby for him. I'm not certain on that, I just didn't see any clips of him for a long time. But over like the last year or so, he's come back strong. And he's even started a YouTube channel with a few other people called Ruthless TV. Definitely go check him out and subscribe to him. I'd love to see him grow and get the respect that he deserves. So next on this list is an American athlete by the name of Ethan Rudd. Now, Ethan Rudd has about 6,000 followers, and he is fairly well known because he's part of the Motors projects. But I'd really say he's underrated. For the level that he is at, you would expect him to be one of the more well-known athletes in the scene. He very recently put out a video called Shorties, which was released on the Motors projects channel. It was filmed in like this 90s skate kind of style, and it was filmed alongside his friend Noah, who very easily could have been on this list as well. Ethan just has this very cool way of approaching spots. I do sometimes find it that the higher level athletes who have a similar skill repertoire kind of build lines in a very similar way to each other. But this is where Ethan stands out. Like, sure, he has the same skill level as so many other athletes, but when he approaches spots, he has such a different eye for it. He'll see things that just aren't obvious. And he's very inventive with the way he'll use the environment around it. If he sees a random traffic cone or a traffic sign, he'll set it up and create something with that. There's always something unique and unexpected in one of Ethan's lines. Alright, so next on this list is an athlete called James Ward. James has about 3.1 thousand followers on Instagram, and he's from Kent in England. And James has just been this like low-key beast in the scene for a good number of years. He's very much a power athlete. You'll see him do these insane flip precisions and big running prees, flip gaps, etc. And the skill level that James is at, I've always been surprised that he isn't more well known in the scene. He's honestly up there with some of the top people in the UK, but he's one of these people that if you say his name, most people probably won't know of him. Honestly, I think a bit of it is to do with maybe just he didn't really want to be a professional athlete. Maybe that wasn't his ambition, which is kind of true for a lot of these more underrated athletes. There are some people, believe it or not, who don't really care about social media. And the effort and the work you have to put into to getting that well-known name, for some people just takes away what they enjoy about parkour. But there is just this little bit inside of me that always wishes James would be more well recognized. Next on this list is an absolute artistic genius, and his name is Lucande. I'm probably not saying it quite right, he is French. Now granted, he is a very good athlete, but that kind of isn't it. What really makes him stand out is him as an artist. From what I could tell, he studies stuff like VFX, graphics, motion design, this kind of stuff. And like many people in parkour, when they get into the artistic world, they start bringing it into parkour. So Lucande makes these insane edits to his training. He'll be doing a backflip and then all of a sudden turn into a skeleton. And then he'll like Spider-Man himself onto a wall and swing around a bar. It's honestly such an experience, and every time he puts out a video, everyone who follows him shares it. But because the editing is so good, sometimes it can overlook how good of an athlete he is. As I say, he just has this like minimal, steezy kind of style. And it comes through in the way he dresses and the way he approaches parkour seems to be from this super creative angle. It's honestly so inspiring. So next on this list is an athlete by the name of Ben Reddington. Now Ben has about 6.2 thousand followers, which honestly I was shocked to find out. I thought Ben was a super well-known athlete. Like, he's always trained alongside David Nelms, and David has a very big following, but somehow people have just overlooked how good Ben is. Ben was really one of the early people to get back on the wave of like ascent, descent, old school parkour style. I don't know if he has a climbing background, but he would do these fast, rapid climbs, and it's the same kind of style that got like Shane Parkour really famous. But unfortunately Ben just hasn't had the same kind of recognition for very similar style runs. I would say Ben's ascents are less technical than Shane's, but they're still incredibly quick and impressive to watch. So last on this list is an athlete by the name of Dennis Weeble, who has about 2.6 thousand followers on Instagram. From what I could tell on his Instagram, he lives and trains in Aarhus. And honestly, I only found out about him today. I put it out on my Instagram I was making this video, and Callum Powell sent me this guy. Callum basically said he's like a next level athlete that somehow no one has heard of. And he's totally right, because I don't even think I've seen a single clip from him. But this guy's just an absolute beast.
Today?
He has massive running precisions, really quick ascent, descent runs, and he has really good confidence in training at heights. You see him do a lot of these kind of rooftop runs, and they are just so nice to watch. I personally love parkour lines that aren't all on the ground and they have like different layers to them. And Dennis just has this style of training completely on lock. And on top of his runs, he's also really good at sticking like high risk consequence precisions. And I'm seriously shocked I only found out about him today. I'm going to leave all the Instagrams of these athletes so you guys can go follow them. Comment below anyone you think I've missed, and if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give a like and subscribe to the channel. The parkour bucket list is out now, so if you want to support me, you can do so by picking one of them up, buying some merch off my website, supporting me on Patreon, or using the sponsor link below. Peace.